Hey guys, Nishquick here. So a lot of this video is going to be taken from a major segment of the script from an earlier video called Falling in Love with Final Fantasy IX. That video is a long scripted video where I recount my experience with the beloved JRPG Final Fantasy IX and sort of review it as well. And the specific segment I'm talking about is one of the longest segments in that video where I talk about the game's soundtrack and OST and the musical motifs. And I initially wrote that segment to be so much longer, I realized I have to make an entirely separate video on the subject, so here it is, and a video all about the musical motifs and soundtrack of Final Fantasy IX. So many of you guys know I love music in video games. It's often a very overlooked aspect of a game, but a factor that can elevate a game to a higher level of appreciation, value, and quality for me personally. And some of you might know that my favorite thing about JRPG OSTs is the great use of leitmotifs, which, if you guys do not know, I usually describe as reoccurring pieces of music or reoccurring melodies that signify a certain theme or symbolize a character. And these can be used to familiarize a player with an idea, theme, location, or character, or even tell its own story without even using a single line of dialogue. Some of my favorite JRPG OSTs do this quite a lot. Nobuo Uematsu, who is the composer for most of the Final Fantasy series, is the master of creating character themes that stick in your head and resonate with you for the rest of the game, and rearranging them and calling back to these melodies to symbolize the importance of said character or illustrate their growth throughout the adventure. I think he does this the best in Final Fantasy IX. Not only does he do this, but he creates themes and melodies that fit so incredibly perfect with the current setting and atmosphere that really immerses you in the experience. So in this video, I want to go in depth and analyze a few songs and character motifs that stood out to me the most and how I interpret them. So without further ado, let's go. And before we get started, I just wanted to let you guys know, if you enjoy JRPGs, if you enjoy video game music, anything like that, give this video a like and subscribe for more content like this, and maybe even hit the join button, join as a channel member to get additional Nishquick Pops perks. Also, just wanted to let you guys know, there will be full-on spoilers for Final Fantasy IX in this video, so you have been warned before diving into this OST and musical motif analysis. So, starting with Zidane and Zidane's theme. Zidane's theme is heroic and a chivalrous melody that plays during moments of triumph, whenever he overcomes great hardship and achieves victories. It's a theme that conveys his confidence in the eyes of those he leads, especially Dagger, Vivi, Aiko, but you also feel his independence as a character. But near the middle of the song, it turns a little more serious, but it still retains that high, optimistic energy that conveys Zidane's thief personality and his theatrical troupe player identity as an actor as well. I feel like this part of the song shows a little bit of Zidane's vulnerability as a protagonist as well. This portion of the song returns later in the game in Disc 3 as a song called Unrequited Love, and this is the song that plays in Alexandria when Zidane and Dagger are separated after Dagger takes up her role as Queen Garnet of Alexandria. Zidane is depressed and longs for time with Dagger, which he now feels he will never get with her more important responsibilities at play. Calling back to this part of Zidane's theme in this part of the game was, in my opinion, a very good idea. Looking back at Zidane's theme, it's almost like Zidane himself is saying, I'm always going to do my best and be there for my friends. I have a heart of gold, but I still feel lonely from time to time, and still need to find my place in this world. Those are just the vibes that I got from hearing his theme, and I love how even in Zidane's bright and cheerful theme, you can feel traces of his sadness and vulnerability, which gets called back to later in the game, tying him directly to his love interest, Garnet and Dagger. So now let's move on to Vivi. Vivi's theme is a bouncy and whimsical tune that perfectly describes his clumsy, curious, and apprehensive nature as a small little black mage. You can feel Vivi's childlike wonder and curiosity in this tune, and it sort of gives me classic Disney vibes. I don't know about you guys. Another theme associated with Vivi is called Fleeting Life. This one is heard when Vivi discovers the black mage is being produced and starts to question his identity and morality since he is one of them and looks identical to them. Fleeting Life is a somber, melancholy, and frankly depressing theme, and it has a very contemplative, emotional mood behind it and fulfills its purpose perfectly to accompany Vivi's existential crises and depressing moments of contemplating his morality. Later on in the game, you enter a location known as the Black Mage Village, a place where black mages who gain consciousness live simple and peaceful lives. And this is great. It's a place for black mages to live. A place where they can be free of mind control and not be forced to act as weapons of mass destruction. And to accompany that feeling, you hear a bright, poppy, and energetic electric version of Vivi's theme. But this is still the Black Mage Village, and with the revelation that these little guys only last for around a year or so, the feeling of a fleeting life still there, lingering within the souls of these mages. And of course, you hear that in the melody near the end. Even with Vivi's optimism and finding a simple and fulfilling life, the black mages still feel hopeless and impending doom creeping up behind them. Amazing storytelling and characterization illustrated through these songs. Garnet's theme needs no introduction. It's basically the main theme of the entire game, and plays in many moments. It's the world map theme as Over the Hill. It's Garnet's theme whenever she has her defining and iconic moments. It's Southgate, which is my favorite rendition of the theme, where Garnet reluctantly but determinedly takes a stand against the actions of her mother and leaves Zidane and Vivi to take matters into her own hands. We also hear this very early on in the game in the song Eye to Eye, which is another rendition which actually comes full circle. It's a song that plays when Zidane and Garnet encounter each other for the very first time, and then plays during their temporary farewell at the end of the game, bringing everything back full circle. The most iconic version of Garnet's theme is of course Melodies of Life. It's a song which I thought was sung in the point of view of Garnet and is recounting her adventures and feelings for her loved ones. What's amazing about this song is it combines another one of Garnet's themes, a song from her memory. This mysterious song ties Garnet to her past as a summoner of Madain Sari and is heavily linked to her identity as Princess of Alexandria, but combining this nostalgic vocal melody theme with her main theme in the game that we continuously hear throughout the entire adventure is the perfect way to cap off the entire game of Final Fantasy IX and honestly just leave you in tears during the end credits. The prevalence of these songs actually makes me think Garnet could actually be as much of a protagonist as Zidane. I don't know what you guys think, but Zidane of course moves the story forward as the hero, but Garnet goes through so much development on her own, eventually ending up as an independent and confident queen. And hearing all these songs and experiencing these two motifs in the game reminds you that this is certainly her story, and even though she will one day be queen, she will still be herself. Another favorite theme of mine is Freya's. It's a very sad and contemplative and melancholy theme, and basically the perfect theme for someone who is grieving over the loss of a lover who they don't know is dead or even still alive. Freya is a comforting and nurturing character, but she harbors memories of a lover who she still longs to find in a world torn apart by war. The theme of Freya, the kingdom of Bermesia, and her lover, Sir Fratley, all share the same chord progression and innate melody. Freya's theme is fast and somewhat frantic because of her longing for Fratley and her worries for her kingdom and people. Bermesia's theme is almost like it's being sung by the ghosts of the fallen soldiers and citizens of the kingdom, adding to its haunting atmosphere and Freya's somber mood. And my favorite of these melodies is Unforgettable Silhouette, which is Sir Fratley's theme. It's a nostalgic version of this tune, which feels wistful, hopeless, sentimental, and full of regret, but it also has some traces of hope in it, and it gives me a feeling of how good things used to be between Freya and Fratley. When Freya encounters the amnesiac Fratley, Unforgettable Silhouette plays, and it just gives all of these vibes and so much more. The evolution of her theme reminds us who and what she is fighting for. Same goes for the supporting character Beatrix. She's unfortunately not a playable character, but still a very important one in the story since she's very closely tied to all the Alexandrian characters like Queen Braun, Adelbert Steiner, and Garnet. Whenever you fight her, you hear the song Wavering Blade, a slower and more tense version of her theme. Her main theme is called Roses of May, which is one of the best songs I've ever heard from Uematsu in my opinion. It's a tender and sophisticated, beautiful piano piece, which plays when she's questioning her motives and morals and her proper role in this war as a general to the soldiers of Alexandria. But that's not it. Arguably, the best version of her theme is called Something to Protect. She eventually grows closer to and more fond of her fellow Alexandrian knight, Steiner, who is the captain of the Knights of Pluto. During Alexandria's darkest hour, both she and Steiner must fight for their lives to protect their kingdom and themselves. Their feelings for each other are strong, and you can hear that prominently in this song. It picks up the tempo of Roses of May and adds strong percussion on top of orchestrated melodies with instrumentation with brass and strings to bring out way more emotion. Easily one of the best songs in the game. You can truly feel Beatrix's strong feelings in this song, how she really feels like this might be her and Steiner's final moments of light, and how she must fight with all her strength to protect the one she loves. Okay, we're almost at the end, but I need to talk about one last musical motif, and to me, this is actually the coolest one. I intentionally left this out of the last video because this got way too spoilery, and I wanted to make this own dedicated video for this specific musical motif alone. So hear me out. A Place to Call Home is the song you hear upon booting the game up every single time on that title screen. It's a haunting song actually, but it's also a perfect song as an intro to a high fantasy game like Final Fantasy IX with those nice flute melodies, and it just feels very fantasy-esque, you know? But this song has so much more meaning to it, and it's basically Zidane's hidden second theme song. Yeah. So first of all, what is the song called? A Place to Call Home. Home is what Zidane is searching for throughout the entire game. A home within the Tantalus theater troupe, a home with his friends, and a home within Gaia itself. But all this time, he still feels left out. But as you continue the game, you learn more about Garland and his nefarious deeds, and of course, the new world of Terra. And the coolest thing is when you're exploring these mysterious locations relating to the planet of Terra, you hear that iconic melody you always hear when you boot up the game. In the mysterious old city of Oilvert, I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't even know how you pronounce it, but you hear a melancholic and mysterious version of A Place to Call Home. And once you get to the end of the dungeon, you enter the Chamber of 1,000 Faces, and you hear a haunting choral version of this melody as well. At this point, I always thought that this was just like a nice reuse of the title screen melody, but my JRPG brain was telling me to keep a lookout for story details that could be hinting and foreshadowing at something because of this reuse of this musical melody. So shortly after, you visit a place called Ibsen's Castle, another location relating to Terra, and you hear the song again, but as a flute variation. This was another glaring hint. The game was trying to tell me something about this mysterious world and how it relates to the rest of the game. And finally, you reach the end game, you enter the planet of Terra, and once you explore both Terra and Braun Ball, it all hits you. You hear that melody once again. You see the genomes and you learn about Zidane's past, and you finally realize that the game was hinting that Zidane never really had a place at home in Gaia and was originally from Terra, just like Kuja. This level of foreshadowing was insane, and it was under our noses the entire time, right when we start the game up. A place to call home, the name of the title screen track. Zidane probably never remembered Terra, but he knew deep down inside that he felt out of place and longed for a place to truly call his home. And once he sees the genomes and Braun Ball all through, he realizes his home is where his friends are in Gaia. Whenever this melody plays, it's almost like Terra is beckoning for Zidane to come back home and fulfill his role as the Angel of Destruction. But of course, in a haunting and sinister way, it's a genius piece of musical composition by the mastermind of JRPG musical composition, Nobuo Uematsu. I gotta hand it to him. So that's all I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really reused a lot of stuff from my prior video, but I was really happy to have the chance to expand on a lot of what I wanted to say, because that video would have had an extra like 20 minutes added onto it if I went so much in detail. And of course, I got to talk about that really cool musical motif at the end relating to Zidane and all that. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have played Final Fantasy IX, if you guys really love the OST of Final Fantasy IX like I do, let me know in the comments below what your favorite songs are, what your favorite musical motifs are, and also let me know in the comments if you know of any other JRPGs that use a lot of musical motifs like this. I can think of a few in my mind right now, and I might make similar kinds of videos relating to those games as well. But yeah, nonetheless, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Nishquick signing off. Have a great day, and go play some great games today, like Final Fantasy IX, which, depending on when this video comes out, maybe the remake is finally announced. I don't know, but if not, just play the Mogiri mod, play it on Switch, play it on any console you have. I'll see you guys in the next one later. Hey guys, this is Nishquick. Thank you so much for watching that video, and if you enjoyed it, check out these two videos on the left and maybe subscribe if you haven't on your way out. And big shout out to all my channel members whose names you can see on the screen right now. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.